you very much, Conference. Thank you so much. It's really good to be back. I have to admit that after the rugby yesterday, I was a little bit nervous about coming out, but you have to let us have that one. Look, England victories are about as rare as the SNP in Westminster these days, so we've got to have that one, I'm afraid. And we can only make that difference because of your hard work. I saw it right here in Glasgow when we kicked off the election. I've seen it right across Scotland, in the campaign, of course, but beyond that. Everything the Labour movement has achieved, past and future, everything, comes from the efforts of its people. So that victory in July, Conference, that's your victory. It belongs to you. You changed the future of our country, and I say to you, thank you for your hard work. Because of your work, Scotland no longer sits on the Westminster sidelines, sending a message. Remember that, the height of the SNP ambition. No, Scotland is in government. A new generation of Scots. Michael Shanks leading the way on clean British energy. Douglas Alexander fighting for Scottish businesses in a challenging world. Kirsty McNeil standing up for Scottish interests at home and overseas. And Ian Murray, from the lone Scottish Labour MP to the Secretary of State for Scotland in a Labour government. And Conference, look at the difference it makes. Fuel duty cut. The national living wage increased, £1,400 extra in the pockets of working people, ending fire and rehire, scrapping unfair zero-hours contracts, strengthening maternity rights, making work pay, the biggest levelling up of workers' rights in a generation. That's what change looks like, Conference. And I am personally so grateful to so many of you here today, to Anas and to Jackie, and so many others, for your friendship, for your support, but above all, your leadership, your example. Because a victory like ours can sweep away memory and defeat. But there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, when people said Labour could never win in Scotland again. When I became leader, when Anas became leader, that is what so many people thought. But Conference, I never believed it. Because of you. The brightness of your conviction, the fire and determination to fight for your communities. A better Scotland in a Britain once again in the service of working people. Conference, in recent weeks, we've also seen that our old argument remains as vital as ever. That Scotland and Britain, standing together, united by the solidarity of working people, is the only way to face down the instability of the world beyond these islands, as it has always been. And on the eve of the third year of Russian aggression in Ukraine, I know that this conference, indeed the Scottish people, stand with the people of Ukraine. Because Conference, peace only comes through strength. Nobody wants the bloodshed to continue. Nobody, least of all the Ukrainians. But after everything that they have suffered, after everything that they have fought for, There can be no discussion about Ukraine without Ukraine, and the people of Ukraine must have a long-term secure future. At conference, I've seen firsthand the devastation Putin has caused. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Kyiv. I met soldiers in the burns unit of a hospital who fought on the front line of freedom. I spoke to children who are growing up under constant bombardment. Some of them, primary school age, have lost their parents to the conflict. I've been to Bucha, the town where Russian soldiers handcuffed civilians and shot them in the head in cold blood. Trust me, conference, you don't forget a place like that. You don't forget the conversations that I had there. People who had to gather up the bodies of their friends, their family, their brothers and sisters, and wheel them into a mass grave using shopping trolleys. You don't forget things like that. But mark my words, what I have seen only makes me more determined to stand up for Ukraine, to put them in the best possible position and make sure they have the security and the hope that they need. And look, we can be proud that we stood up. I'm proud of the thousands of British families who opened their homes to fleeing Ukrainians. I'm proud that the yellow and light blue flutters on village halls the length and breadth of these islands. And I'm proud that we've shown once again that we are a nation that will not be cowed by threats or tyranny. But as we enter a new phase in this conflict, we must now deepen our solidarity even further. It's not just moral urgency that demands this. It's also in our national interest. Russia already menaces our waters, our online spaces, even at times our streets. And the economic insecurity that the conflict has caused, the rising bills, cost of living crisis, that will only continue unless we have a resolution that is fair and stable for Ukraine. This is one of the great lessons of our history. Instability in Europe always washes up on our shores. And this is a generational moment. I've been saying for some time that we Europeans, including the United Kingdom, have to do more for our defence and security. The US is right about that. In this new era, we can't cling on to the comforts of the past. It's time to take responsibility for our security, our continent. And I'm clear that Britain will take a leading responsibility. We have to be ready to play our role if a force is required in Ukraine once a peace agreement is reached. And we have to be ready to reshape our economy with industrial policy, to stand up for Ukraine, to stand up for Europe, but most of all, to stand up for our security, because Ukraine is vital to us. And look, this is political as well. If we don't show a path to the future, others will fill that void. In fact, they already are. A dangerous right-wing politics, even here in Scotland, that will say they are the ones who can tilt politics towards the interests of working people, even as their proposals do precisely the opposite. A politics which feeds off the failure of the free market, the failure of public services to reform, and above all, the failure to control borders properly. We have to be ready for this test, conference, ready to point out that beneath their bluster, the alternative they offer is alien to working people. You want to know what Farage and Reform are doing on their rare visits to Parliament? They're voting against our Employment Rights Bill. They talk the language of workers' rights online and on the doorstep, But they voted against banning fire and rehire. They voted against scrapping exploitative zero-hour contracts. They voted against sick leave and maternity pay. And what about the NHS? They want to charge people to use our NHS. They claim to be the party of patriotism, but they're fawning over Putin. No, they are not the answer for working people in Britain. And they are not the answer for Scotland. And contrast that with what you've seen from Anas and Jackie this weekend. What you've seen from the difference we're making in Westminster. And it's day and night. Only Labour can make the difference for working people. Only Labour will put more money in your pocket. Only Labour will fix our broken economy. Only Labour will secure our border. Only Labour can save our NHS, put police back on your streets, give our children the opportunities they deserve. Only Labour can deliver change for Scotland.